သောပနာမကတုကံစေရနာ၏စွမ်းအာနုဘောကြောင့်ဒီကုလိုလူဘဝကောင်းနဲ့ကြုံချိုက်တဲ့အခါမှာခြေကံကိုကြည့်ဒီလာတွေပြည့်စုံပြီးတော့လူနဲ့တူတူစိတ်နဲ့စိတ်ထားတွေလည်းတန်ရှင်းပြီးတော့လူလိုစိတ်ထားတတ်သူတရားတွေအားထုတ်လို့ယုံနာပိုင်းခြားသိမှုကအစစ်ညာလေးတွေပွင့်ပြီးတော့အတိညာရှိသူဘောအမဂ္ဂကျေရနိုင်လောက်တဲ့ကုသိုလ်ရှိသူများဖြစ်အောင်ကြိုးစားအားထုတ်နိုင်ကြပါစေယမောတာမိတဝရိတနမောတစ္ဆဗဂဝတောအရဟတောသမ္မာသမ္ဗုဒ္ဓัสสะနမောတစ္ဆဗဂဝတောအရဟတောသမ္မာသမ္ဗုဒ္ဓัสสะနမောတစ္ဆဗဂဝတောအရဟတောသမ္မာသမ္ဗုဒ္ဓัสสะနမောတစ္ဆဗဂဝတောအရဟတောသမ္မာသမ္ဗုဒ္ဓัสสะသုဘုဒ္ဓံစရဏဝိသံတရဏကမနံပရိဘုံနံသုပဏတိပါဒဝေရာမိစိက္ခာပဒံသမာဓိယာမိအာရိဏဒါနာဝေရာမိစိက္ခာပဒံသမာဓိယာမိအာရမစရိယဝေရာမိပ Idame silang Mega phala nyanasa Bacchayo Hotu Mimi Abjano Ikiladi Menya Punya A Jesu Budo Chao Atauba Pipasi Apamadina Tamadida Apamadina Makamu Shao Kamu Samoya Mapikwe Malehedo Apamada Tritiapi Tambadita Mimidi Jintika Awawa Piso or Atochavali Oimiatia Sahori Yuka Savidori Punya Sure Sagali Utibiro Dana Telega Dana Punya Tila Telegra Tila Punya Bavana Telegra Bavana Punya Savai Tom you quit over Punya de Bella Mimi Poa in Italy came the Pusin that she's it at the board. Thanking at the board, thanking on look at the board. I really feel about it. Dana Punya, Dila Punya, quite tragically live about it. Danaga. But what is sending she is only Pilot of Yanamagaya. Tilaga, something in Harego, she John, some Kujian, Shauno, Lubowa, Chanta Yad, Chanta Makoya. No more of Yanina. Yanamagay, Chanta Makoya, Chariaga. Sitati Pujo, Dimani, Tobido, Amakanja Shide, Punyari, Bodima, Awana Punyari, the Pong. Hiladi Piogabare. The Pata Punyari, Watana Punya, Tarile Queb Yogabara. Ido Danane Mita Bawana, Naishi Viro Piogabara. Uji net and alone to ya. Chip you don't get to Dayata te. The canale Mita Poyadaga Savon Tares, Rikutu Tares, Tarilipio. Peter Gulo was a Bala Kili Tari Pikumia or body. Chongja Saita Ari Toda body, Ye Ari Toda Sabu Juba Toda to sing to you, Pima Lumia Juba Toda. Your money Banda Yote, sitting to you, Atoda body. As you atom which she went there, New Pontia near that atom. She did Dalia, Pugiro Tamu, she does for the Pioga. Didn't say Piogi Nagaro. The early Atolo keep your cocato to Dimi Solochi, Editia Liha. Keep your go Mammy Bene, Loki Lumukisa, Tamco Kisa. Tana Lilone, Chingantila Lilone, Budisita Lilone, Pichia de Kuduti, Savonia Swatabo Boli, and I didn't say Pioga.
Sarah is explaining since the starting of this Dhamma preaching, Sarah have been talking about this punya, that is the meritorious works. These meritorious works means they are of three kinds. One is dana punya, and second is sila punya, and the third is bhavana punya. Dana is the practicing of generosity or charity. Sila is we are observing the good conduct. Bhavana is cultivation or civilizing our mind. So by practicing dana alone, then of course you will have meritorious effect, but that effect will bring you to have a good and comfortable life. But by observing sila, it is more better than dana. So by observing the sila, whatever we needed to avoid, we will be avoiding. Whatever we needed to do, we will be doing. So by doing, then we will get a good life as a human or a divine life. And also you will have a good life and from hereafter. So, and by practicing bhavana means to flourish our mind, to progress our mind, to understand the great knowledges. So to attain these Dhamma knowledges there are of two ways. One is samatha and second is vipassana. Samatha is the tranquility meditation. It will keep distance of the pollutants of the mind, but you cannot attain the wisdom. Only with vipassana punya, that is what we are doing now as Satipatthana Dhamma practice, then these two have a great difference. Sayadaw talked about it last night. And also Sayadaw explained about the difference between the practice of dana and difference between practicing metta, that is the loving kindness. So because you are capable to do so, say about 100 huge pots of food you have been offering to the beings for 3 times in a day, but even for a second or a glimpse of radiating your loving kindness towards the other, even though this loving kindness practice is even a split of second, that is greater than you have done the charity, that is you have been offering 3 times to the beings. So, but better than metta bhavana, practicing, developing radiation of loving kindness towards others is also good. But better than that is we have to eradicate the mental pollutants called kilesa or defilements. So these defilements are accumulated in our mind not only in this life, we have been bearing in our mind all along in our previous lifetime as well. So that's why to encounter these defilements, we have to raise our energy all the time till we reach to the goal. These energy or the effort are of 3 kinds. The first is, once we started taking up the Dhamma practice, we will have initial effort or energy, and then we will uplift or boosting our energy, and then we are having the persevering effort till we reach to the goal. So, if we are practicing so, then even though we may be living for 1 day with this kind of practice, it's better than those who may be living for 100 years but not knowing any kind of the Dhamma knowledge. So that's why Sayadaw explained that if we take up this Dhamma practice at one time with the maturity and the progress of our mind, we will be seeing with your own experience the appearing and disappearing of the Dhamma nature or all the phenomenon. So all these are based on lokiya, that is within this mundane field. But better than that, how to upgrade our mind to attain the different stages of knowledges, Sayadaw will talk tonight.
Bhavana punya ma maniga phikai chuma tabawa moksha ti nai di so de Jesu ji mai Sayadaw bhya ji pai tha de Dhamma lansin dai bo li bho ji sa ho twa ba le phikai soda phi soda ga sa li lu de lu ti de lu che lu ya ba le khai so de saka ga ro pu no ni che so de dai bai ya da che Don't so that they believe Pit don't pitch hair. Pibi Maho Kimehamo, Nagamo. Take a little on Matijaro. And Nagatura level, county body, the motor, Siku. The Mulu was Sikube. Lolo se body the Hagaroda Yamama do it, the Jazoma Mingai, Jagai, Nagai, Sagai, Tigai. These is Soluchi Lechi, Jauji, Kuigai, Sangai, Joagai, Langai, Chagai, Yakai. The word is Soluchi, Missy Makai, Punkai. Congai, now Langai body, we Yangai, Yajiva Vedama, Elaria, Colo, Shuya met Shukwini, Shugo Jiva Colo. Babe Pipsi, Lolo say, Bola de holiday. To bottom was a lima body. Shuya met. Shoes with a gum, however, Sigali at the low never. A mighty Zemha in Ari, Yai party. She rang her. A good city from your city that she looked at her. She the little allows our body, singing them a thing on the sheet of nearby. That they eat you. The energy, a seniorly joke you with up. You see the dinner, your body less or a body. Doggy burger, soundy, pillow, juicy, look. The areas of 2 hours. Lunet to our Ludo Seta, Lutina, she with a Lucha Lucia. Nilania body, less or a body. Shut up with a man, Susan Diana, that they eat. The great Boko County town. Poitu Sasso, Rochi, Kalena Beta Corabody. Kalena Beta, Susan Yame, Chica Yabido, Chica Bido, Mia Miame. Tapamazo Sal Lupo.
So when we are practicing bhavana means we are cultivating or training our mind. This is the meritorious walks. So in accordance with our great Mahasi Sayadaw's teaching, we all have to focus or observe our mind to the present occurrence. So to the present occurrence is while it is happening. So it is not before the incident is occurred. It is not after the object have been occurred. It must be concurrent to the present moment or to the present occurrence. So if we are imagining before the object is occurred or after the object, then these are just imagination. These are not true practical walk. Because this is the true practical walk is while the object or the object of meditation is occurring, you have to focus on it concurrently and immediately. While it is happening, you must be observing, not later or not before. So that not only in sitting and walking, we have to be mindful all the time, whether you are bending your hand, stretching your body or stretching your hand, or stepping forward or stepping down, and how far we have to observe is even to the minute behavior from our bodies, for like we are opening and closing of our eyes. All these are notable or observable. We have to observe to all these behavior from our body and mind. So while the object is occurring, whatever the nature is, our duty is just to observe it immediately while it is happening. So in that way, if we are observing time and again, our mind will become clean and pure. So that our mind is clean and pure, then we know this way of practice is suitable to us or not, whether it is suitable or not, whether it is beneficial or not, we know to ourselves. And also we come to understand this is the kind of practice we need to do it. This is a must. We must do it. So for the almost all the people in this world nowadays, we have to spend most of our times for our living. So we have been spending most of our time for our living. Of course, this is we have to do. But at the same time, we need to search and we need to learn what are the things we need to follow to become a good human being. So in that way, if we are trying to understand what to become a good human being is, we need to have Kalyana Metta. Kalyana Metta means it's a good friend or a virtuous friend or a learned person. So if we are approaching, then it is the right approach.
Kalyana Metta kore, Maikong Sui Gong Shia Tamago, check conditionally, you check diamond. Eddie check on the chest or Patama check out of Pia ko Pia Sura King Kayada Boku, Chichi Kayada Boku body. Go Jushi out, Tenehari, Nyampiale, go my Jushi be Soroshi Eddie Boko, a mini bomb ha Jushi was low loaded the Wapiara. Juicy was loaded, Piare, Midale, sheeted, Midda Tare Boko. The Chisia Vedu. Era Gigi, era Bia con Beers of Lavi. The Lodium of Penny Body Lamman Pia Lamman shout out on body, a pepper got Lodi she body, don't appear. Don't appear. Go no abuse mutilation, Jamie, the Sydney Citadia Sa. Go what do the Murishila. The Lisa did the Concover. Kuru Concover. The Lupia Krukum, the piece of Misology. Eddie Boko Boma. Mikore Boko Riga. Mita Taro Rave. Naru Akure Boko. Jamai Bazi, Chanda Bazi, Surabadi. Mita Apu Khairo Rava. Are you a few Khairo Rava? It has Sambaunia Concover. Hello, Chingan Kone Kunshi Boko Ha. To the body sits on the Kama Surashi. Chushi the Zagari, Pura. You go lunet 2 hours, Chushi the Zagar, New Charger. Now, see a body, one, I say only the people you are to Chushi the Zagari, Pura. That they eat you are. Eddie Conel ever you chet I am. Mimiga to the other so much be a cook, young Peter, pure Kajaro level. Deacon Diamond, that was in the Kama Concover. Deacon the Sailor Shima Kona. Now Chakum Yakongaro. A good Lupin at Tadanado, eating Jungji de Kama, Jungja Junai, it wet. Look nice in the body. She can go to the piece of it. Shangchin and needed. Saying she already done she looked at needed. Truth be a thing and she can say it since people in Chapito, the warm marble, and there's ultimate for young Elotari. You don't not Johnny body. Don't you sepple anybody. Nenere the Azagarigo level Sadwin, Letwin. Bounce up with your pure name, Konashia me. The Chakumia Kong body. And also Konumia Kongaro. Kona Aku Kada Bokuga, Mimi Jogo, Nebido. Mikuni the Bokurego. အကျိုးမရှိတဲ့နေရာမှာအလွဲအသုံးမချရဘူးဒါနောက်ဆုံးခုံပဲနောက်ဆုံးခုအဲ့ဒီခုံခုနှစ်ပါးနဲ့ရွေးချယ်လို့ပြည့်စုံပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့အဲ့ဒါကလျာဏမိတ်တမိကောင်းဆွေကောင်းဆရာသမားကောင်းဖြစ်တော့တာပဲအဲ့ဒီပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ချင်းကလို့ရှိရင်မိမိတို့အတွက်ယခုအသက်ရှိဆုံးကာလမှာလည်းပဲအကျိုးကျေးဇူးရှိနေတယ်။နောက်ဘဝဆက်မှာလည်းပဲအကျိုးကျေးဇူးတွေအများကြီးရှိသွားနိုင်တယ်။အထူးအားဖြင့်ဘဝအစဉ်တန်းဘယ်တော့မှမနေနိုင်တော့ပါဘူး။
So to find a Kalyanamitta, that is a good or a virtuous friend. A good or virtuous friend, that person must have 7 kinds of good qualities. First is, that person must have a lovable qualities. Lovable is because that person is your good friend or virtuous friend, always guide for the benefits, and he would teach you to have a good benefits. And also, that virtuous friend will have loving kindness, and with that, based on that love and kindness, then he will guide you for the benefits of you or the others. And also, this virtuous friend is capable to show the righteous path. This is a good path and this is not. And also, that virtuous friend will make you or push you or make you to follow the righteous path. And also, this virtuous friend has a respectable quality. Because he is having a respectable quality, then you are not exactly leaning, but you are depending on a virtuous friend based on this metta, that is loving kindness and compassion. So in that way, you will that virtuous friend will be appreciated by the others, and that person will have the turning back of the metta. May he be happy, may he be in good health, etc. So this virtuous quality must be present in him. And also, because this person is appreciated and loved by the others, the words or the saying will bring only the benefits to his friends. In that way, he will be always talking all the beneficial things, which are the things you have to do and which are the things you need to avoid. And this factor is also important because a real virtuous friend or a teacher will only show you the good path and which is the good things you have to do. And that is important, we have to understand. And another factor is, as a virtuous friend, because he is guiding, then he will be sometimes criticized or said by the others. In that way, that virtuous friend will have good patience or endurance, good endurance quality. And also, the one is, not only by teaching to the others, he himself is practicing the good conduct. So by pursuing the good conduct, he will be abstaining from the evils and only pursuing the good conducts. Not only that, one will practice till one achieves the first stage of Megha and Kalanyana. That is to attain the first stage of the noble level. So by doing so, that virtuous friend will be understanding this is after all this nama and rupa, after all the compound of this mind and matter. So to attain this first level of Megha and Kalanyana, and to understand this is the compounded nature of mind and matter, this is a real serious walk, and this is very deep seated in nature to be understood by the people whoever pursue. So in that way, after all, these are in accordance with the Dhamma teaching. So in accordance with the Dhamma teaching, he will be guiding both from the theoretical, not the theoretical, both from the scriptures as well from the practice. And the last is, whatever the things that will not suit to others, or maybe you will be diverting away from the righteous path. And in that way, if that virtuous friend sees you, then he will guide you properly. So, and that virtuous friend will never misuse you. He will be only giving a good guidance. So these qualities which we find in a person, then that person is your virtuous friend. If we find a virtuous friend, then we needed to approach to him. And if we approach to him, then he will be teaching us for all the goodnesses which are good for this life as well for the others.
Neri Kalina Mita Poiru Gogure Buddha ha take danchas of Kalina Mita. Buddha let it to Gala, Pia to Yidi, the Ribudra Shimagula, Sashi de Bogurele. To the level Pia out Kalina Mita a city. Now the Phoebe body Gala, you will to create a light. Good and never Pia Lurija. Chibida Tizia Lego Valley, Mikone de Poco Lego Mita Tabida Valley, Bama, Gonlalaba, Mio Bene Valley, Pure Tatoni de Poco, Jesus my side of Yai, Buddha Aluja, Buddha Nietzsche, Jesus side of Yai. Loyalty also Sadu Letwi Brodana Shudi, Piotr, Poidu, any time, Sadopjai, time I can't tell me that Sadopjai moved die Poidu to say Pure Dirava. Iradiha Piaga Sintete needy Surabari. Take Danjas of Kalina Meta a seat Peter would have Yaga Sintete. Kona Pia Gruba Unia Kone, Pizone, Sagari, Soravali, Pitaga, Yunchi, Shibu, Yechibare.
When it comes to the word Kalyana Mita, that is the virtuous friend, then Buddha is the highest of all the virtuous friends to all the beings. But from the time of the Buddha, there were two great disciples like Shin Sariputra and Shima Moggallana, and from that time, generation to generation, up till the present time, the great teachers are teaching us how to pursue or train ourselves to have a good conduct based with metta and karuna. They have the loving kindness and compassion. So this current in this modern days, we are following the teaching of our great Mahasi Sayadaw. So from our great Mahasi Sayadaw is teaching us in accordance with Buddha's wishes. After all, these are the Buddha's method or Buddha's teaching. These things or these Dhamma are handed down from all the disciples up till now. The current Sayadaw is also Mahasi Sayadaw's disciple. So our present Sayadaw is teaching us the same thing. So these teachings are handed down from the Lord Buddha. So in that way we will be seeing Buddha is the highest esteem of the being who have the lovable quality, who have the great knowledge to guide the others.
Buddha Prilipan Sangani Naibai Elu Mavali Listening Palo Hori Tiarigo a two choke video body Ekarali Nalo Nebody Mijagabara Dhamma Unia Dhammasura Nilanja Chintone Pogo Outamchaya Aulo Swe Martin Bide out Dhamma Chushi on Chia de Diaribo Chikubo a Chushi လူနဲ့တူအောင်လူလိုစိတ်ဓာတ်အောင်လူသိညာရှိတဲ့လူချက်လူဖြစ်အောင်ပေါ့လေအဲ့ဒါတွေညွှန်ကြားခဲ့ပါတယ်အဲ့ဒီညွှန်တဲ့အတိုင်းလက်တွေ့ကြဓမ္မကိုကျင့်သုံးရပါတယ်ဒီတော့အဲ့လိုကျင့်သုံးတဲ့နေရာမှာစီးနဲ့ကမ်းနဲ့ကျင့်သုံးရပါတယ်လူကလည်းလူစီကံအနည်းဆုံး၅ပါးသီလတန်တယ်လို့ရှိရင်7ပါးသီလယဟန်လည်းယဟန်စီကံဘုတရားကြီးကျေရပါတယ်စီကံနဲ့ဘုတရားရှိဥစွာရှိထားပြီးတော့လည်းကျင့်သုံးရပါတယ်အဲ့ဒါဝိနည်းခေါ်ပါတယ်ဒီတော့အကျိုးကျေးဇူးရှိအောင်ညွှန်တဲ့အတိုင်းကျင့်သုံးတာကဓမ္မကျင့်သုံးရတာကဓမ္မကြီးတဲ့ကံနဲ့ကျင့်သုံးဖို့ပြတာကဝိနည်းတတိအခရာ၅လုံးနဲ့ရသော်ရညွှန်ခဲ့ပါတယ်အဲ့ဒီဓမ္မဝိနည်းကိုငါဖျားကိုယ်တိုင်ညွှန်ကြားခဲ့ပြီငါဖျားအားကိုးတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေနှလုံးသားထဲမှာလည်းပဲအပြည့်ခံကအောင်လုပ်ခဲ့ပြီတဲ့နောက်လည်းအားထုတ်မဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေလည်းပဲဒီတိုင်းပဲပေါ့လေအဲ့ဒီဓမ္မဝိနည်းဟာငါဖျားကွယ်သွားတဲ့အခါငါဖျားရဲ့ကိုယ်စားဖျားပဲဒီတော့ခုကလာပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေတက်တော်တိရှာဒီဖျားတော့မတွေ့လျက်ဘူးပေါ့လေဒါပေမဲ့သူဟောတော်တဲ့တရားတော်တိုင်းကျင့်သုံးလို့တရားတော်နဲ့ကိုက်ညီပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အဲ့ဒီကိုက်ညီအောင်မိမိရရှိထားတဲ့တရားဟာဖျားပဲတရားဟာရှင်သန်နေတဲ့တရားဖြစ်တယ်လို့ဖျားရဲ့ကိုယ်စားတရားဟာလည်းပဲရှင်သန်တဲ့သဘောဖြစ်နေတော့တက်တော်ထင်ရှားဖျားလို့ဆိုရတာပါပဲအဲ့တော့အခုကာလပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေဘုရားမြတ်စွာဟာနှစ်ပေါင်း2550ကျော်ကကွယ်လွန်သွားပြီမယ်လို့အခုအထိမြတ်စွာဘုရားတရားတော်တွေဟာရှိနေသေးတယ်တရားတော်တွေရှင်းတာကိုငါတို့လုပ်ဖို့ရအတွက်တာဝန်ရှိတယ်ဆိုတာပေါ့လေဘုရားဘာသာဝင်တိုင်းကပေါ့လေကိုယ်ဆိုင်ရာကိုယ့်ရဲ့တဏ္ဍာမှာတရားရှင်းတာအောင်လုပ်နိုင်လို့ရှိရင်တော့အဲ့ဒါဘုရားကိုယ်ရကျိုးနဲ့တာပဲဘုရားဘာသာဝင်ဖြစ်ခါကျိုးနဲ့တာပဲအဲ့ဒီလိုမှမဟုတ်ဘူးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့အမိကဘုရားဘာသာဝင်ပဲအေးလေးလိုပြောလို့ရှိရင် by name ဘုရားဘုဒ္ဓစစ်ပါတရား
Sarah explained about the Buddha just on his deathbed, just before he reached to his demise. He has spent for the whole 45 vasa, for the full 45 years, Buddha have been teaching these Dhamma continuously, non-stop. And these Dhamma in terms, Sarah explains as, they are of two Dhamma Vinaya. Although this is the 5 words, Dhamma have one meaning and Vinaya have another meaning. And Dhamma is, it is the righteous practice or righteous thing that needed to be practiced. If one practice and abides to the Dhamma, one will be uplifting oneself to become a real human being. So if you do practice this Dhamma, not only in this lifetime you are having the benefits, because you do have the knowledge, from here after too, you are going to pursue in the good life or have a good, you will have a blissful life. So because this is the real practical walk we needed to pursue or we needed to practice, then not only by abiding this Dhamma, but we also need to discipline in accordance with the principles of the Buddha. So the principles or the discipline is, as a lay person, we need to abide to the principle that needed to be followed by the lay people. Like the bhikkhus too, they have to abide to the many numerous discipline what they have to do. So only by doing these two things, you become a real dutiful person, whether you are a lay person or a bhikkhu or a monk. So if you are practicing this Dhamma accordingly as taught by the Lord Buddha, then you become a real human being. If you follow the discipline or the principle, that is the Vinaya, and accordingly to the lay people, if we are a lay people, then we have to abide to the discipline that are needed to be followed by the lay people. That is not, Sierra says, not the teaching of this current teachers. It is the teaching of the Lord Buddha. So when Lord Buddha was alive, Buddha, before he reached to his demise, he says that although he has reached to his demise, whatever he has taught, that is Buddha's teaching. All the teaching are, if it is still alive, then Buddha's Sasana is still alive. So nowadays, we cannot see the Buddha alive. He has reached to his demise. But Buddha's Dhamma, or the teaching, is still alive. So that's why if we are upkeeping the Dhamma to ourselves, then we are not only having a Dhamma to ourselves, but we are also, by seeing the Dhamma means you are seeing the Buddha as well, as if he is still alive. So Buddha have reached to his demise about 2,550 years ago. But his Dhamma, his teaching, are still existing up till nowadays. So because as his teaching are still alive, if we abide to all the teaching, and if we keep in our heart about all these Dhamma within ourselves, then you become a real Buddhist. But if not, because you were born as a Buddhist, and if we just follow the Buddhist as a traditional, then only by name we are Buddhists, but not by value.
ကဘာပေါ်ရှိလူသားတွေဟာဒီအရှင်တန်မြင့်မြင့်နဲ့မိမအရှင်တန်မြင့်မြင့်နဲ့နေကြကြတာပါပဲအရှင်တန်မြင့်မြင့်နဲ့နေတဲ့ဤတွေလည်းပဲကဘာလူသားတွေမှာရှိနေပါတယ်ရုပ်ထုအနေနဲ့အရှင်တန်မြင့်တာကတော့သူ့အရှင်မြင့်တဲ့စီးရင်ထဲမှာမထည့်ပါဘူးဒုက္ခပညာတွေတတ်နေတာလည်းပဲဒါလည်းသူ့အရှင်တန်မြင့်နေတယ်မထည့်ပါဘူးအကြည့်စရိဒနဲ့ပတ်သက်တဲ့စီးရင်တုံမှန်မြင့်တုံရှိပြီးတော့ကိုယ်မူရာတွေတန်ရှိအောင်လို့နှုတ်မူရာတွေတန်ရှိအောင်လို့စိတ်တွေစိတ်ထားတွေတန်ရှိအောင်လို့လုတ်တက်တဲ့နည်းတွေအဲ့ဒါတွေရှိဖို့ရည်ကြည့်ပါတော့ပထမဆုံးစီးရင်တရားလေးကိုယ်တွေ့ပဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်အများတွေ့ပဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်လုတ်ဖို့ကြုံလာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်စီးရင်တရားလေးဥရပါတယ်ကျူးရှိမရှိဒါစင်ရပါတယ်ကျူးမရှိမလို့ရဘူးဒါမျိုးမပြောရဘူးမချစီရဘူးကျူးမဖြစ်နေတာပါအကျိုးရှိပြီမလို့သိမသိလည်းချင်းရပါတယ်ကျိုးရှိတာပဲဆိုပြီးတော့ရမ်းလို့မရပါဘူးသိမသိချင်းရတယ်အချိန်ကာလစသည်ထောက်ဆပါတယ်ဒါဒီအတိညာလေးလည်းရေးကြည့်ပါတယ်လူရလို့ဖြစ်လာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ပညာတတ်မတတ်လူပိသားကိုနေတတ်တဲ့နေဟာပထမဆုံးပြုရပြောရကြံစည်ရမယ့်အရာတွေနဲ့မကင်းကြတာဖြစ်တော့မပြုမပြောမကြံစည်ခင်မိမိလုပ်ရဟာပြင်းကင်းတယ်လားမကင်းဘူးလားကျူးရှိလားမရှိဘူးလားဆိုတော့အဲ့ဒီစဉ်းကျင်တော့တရားရှိရပါတယ်အဲ့ဒါနောက်ထပ်ရင့်ကျက်တဲ့အတိညာဏ်ဖြစ်ဖို့ရအတွက်အဲ့ဒါပထမဥစ္စာပဲအဲ့ဒါတည်းရေးကြည့်ပါလား
So in this world, there are people, especially all the human beings, we like to have a high standard of living. But in Dhamma-wise, this high standard of living is not measured with materiality, because you can live with a good car and good all the materiality. This is not inclusive in the Dhamma world. To become a real human being is basically we need to have a good conduct. By having the good conduct from the speech and the deeds, then you become a purified person. Your body behavior is good, your speech is good. So, as such, not only for yourself, to the others as well, you have some kind of good reflection in your mind. And that good reflection is, whenever you are going to do, you will consider whether this is beneficial or not. Even though it is beneficial, but if it is not suitable, you are not going to do it. So that's why once we are becoming as a human being, whether you are an educated person or non-educated, it doesn't matter. The only thing is whatever we are going to do as walks in this world, we needed to comprehend these 2 points. That is, whether this walk is suitable or not. Even though if it is beneficial, but if it is not suitable, we shouldn't do. So that's why we have to consider whether it is suitable or not suitable, whether it is beneficial or not beneficial. These 2 comprehensions must bear in mind if we wanted to attain the higher wisdom.
Turvasana biro leve, kagole luci leve, turva leve kutu le teta biro, kuku leve temida biro le tascendora. Era singing no tiaci de pocuri, sana zici de pocuri, allobaba. Ri sana zine singing no nyatare the washi luci. Edi navati la tayera ha, pa makayeno, diluneve di poco ha. For example,
like if you are going to commit any kind of evil deeds like killing, stealing and misconduct, then if you comprehend whether all these things are beneficial or not, you know that these are non-beneficial, these are evil, and this will only downgrade your life, it will only give you a disadvantage and miseries in your life. So in that way, as you understood, you try to abstain from all these evil deeds and speech. So because you have abstained yourself to be in good conduct from speech and deeds, then you become a real good human being. So that is because we have reflected in our mind in a righteous way. Because you have reflect in your mind in a righteous way, not only for yourself, you have a good consideration towards others as well. That means you are abiding to the 5 precepts properly. So if we are abiding to the 5 precepts properly, this is good for us as well for the others.
The children so good and Mua, Chubishi, Matinago, Kongontina Levido, Shelluwe Pipsi, Dunyago, Kawari Pipsi, Shamlelushi, the Komuno Sijere, Shigan, Lupita Yoshiva. Lunet to Yomeshiva did. Lulo Sitata Buate Yachivada, to Sitata Buazara. Tumia causa Sinimita, Tayame, China Tanatayame, Mita Necruna, Chichimune, Chinamu Paula Lucia, Kona, Truva Kauzaraho, Nalure, Putitas, Trundia di Twelave, Tito Mita Pore Luha, Chushi, Mita Peta, Chomishi. Tele Medina Maho, Nale Laro Lulu Sitata out Mita Tare, Mita Poria, Mita City, China, another city, Chile. Dachi cannot do your counsel and Manalura Lemishi. Kolo to your counsel, but I will let one do the Lemishi. Oh, a chica, Lulu Sitata, that same death, whatever, that he needed. I could read and she went near her, Peter Mashi to leave you some of St. Azareth, and Pangu Pumasa. Pore, I warm Hawali, Chinas, I sing outside with a sway, swimmers were Shulu, she out of my secret such as a Kaita, Cisa Chibo. Lova Lamsu, Lova Silamsu, Machina de Doda Silamsu. It was a cane, Mati Pita, lower the king at Tashinila, Erazini is a county cover. Eraga, Ubatana, Nina, Sik that she are, Lulu Sidata, Lulu and Niva.
So if we commit any evil, then we know these are evil and not good for one. So you abstain from all the evil, from the speech as well from the deeds. Then you become a real human being. But Sarah explained that this is only at the level that you are a real human being. So, but based on it, because you have good consideration in mind, you will develop loving kindness and compassion towards the others. Because you have the loving kindness and compassion towards the other, there is no envy and jealousy. So you develop mudita, that is the appreciative joy for the other people's success. So based on metta, that is loving kindness, if we reflect in our mind, we know this is beneficial. If we do have loving kindness, we know it is suitable. Because these qualities are suitable and beneficial for us, we practice. So if we do have that kind of mind, then there is no evil, like no envy, no jealousy, only the goodwill will exist in our mind. So if only a goodwill are existing in our mind, then our mental attitude is the real kind as a human being. So with the practice of Vipassana or Satipatthana Dhamma practice, if we can observe with the right aim to all the present occurrences of the object time and again, then that time we can assess to ourselves how good it is. At that moment, there is no greed, no anger, because we have the continuity of observation with pure mind. So if we are doing that way, then we are becoming as a good human being. So with Vipassana practice too, we can uplift ourselves to become a real human being.
Erikona Jushi Timothy Chinen Atinya Tabida Lolo Goma Jushi Dalidi Miamia Tilavi Solution Tinite Hopa Lasra Okana Lekana Yungi Muli Tetro Pila Tabduma Yellow that they teach Shavada. Gulu Ubatana need Dila Pinya Bawana Laila Kajaragu Pika Humatoa Mucha Dinadi Sureta Pongai Ma Shulu Ubatana Kiga the Badi Api Dwalashi Down a lady, dinner lady, float a lady, many of your dealer. There are you. Through dinner, the nuns, Ravali. You and Nana to carry quite dealer. Ah, go to a tibo. Poitin young covered at Lubua had Yona Luelishi, Mishi, Yona Bonsa with a penny days, Ravali. Congo Nale for it. Cannot see it, Joshi Mishi. Chile Dinya mi più lettuine de Yola Kajaro. The K of Matiago Coretilara, အဲ့ဒါအသိပညာတွေတိုးလာတဲ့ခေါ်တယ်
So after we have comprehended to oneself whether it is beneficial or not, whether it is suitable or not, then as we have come to know, for example, if we are practicing in this vipassana way, because we come to understand the realities with the progress of our practice, because you know with your own personal experience, you have confidence in this Dhamma practice. So with this vipassana Dhamma practice is, we are training our mind to come to understand all the realities which exist within ourselves. So that's why if we are following to note or observe the rising as rising, then at that time, as we progress, we come to pick up from our mind the characteristics of the nature, as stiffness, tension as tension, relaxation as relaxation. And these are arising from the matters, and those were noted or known from our mind. So in that way, we have the differentiative understanding of only the mind and matter exists, nothing else exists. So in that way, you will be understanding. So once we are becoming as a human being, and if we come to understand the differentiative knowledge of this mind and matter, then with that reflection of mind, whether it is suitable or not, whether it is beneficial or not, then from that basic understanding, we are going to pile up more and more of mature vipassana wisdom.
အဲ့လိုစက္ကစက္ကတူတူနေလို့ရှိရင်ဒီအသိဉာဏ်လေးဟာပူရှင်းပြီးတော့ပူအားကောင်းလာတတ်တယ်ပြီးတော့တခြားအာယုန်တွေရှုမှတ်တဲ့အခါမှာလည်းပဲပို့ပြီးတော့လည်းပြီးဖြစ်လာတတ်တယ်ဆက်ပြီးတော့ရှုနေလို့ရှိရင်ဒီဖောင်းနာပင်နာကိုပဲဆက်ရှုနေရဖောင်းနာပင်နာလေးရှုရနေပြီးတော့တခါပင်နာလေးပျောက်သွားတယ်ရှုခွဲအာယုံပြောက်တော့တယ်သူအတိစိတ်လည်းမဖြစ်တော့ဖောင်းတိစိတ်လည်းမဖြစ်တော့ဘူးတခါဖောင်းမှုလေးပါပျောက်သွားပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ရှိတော့အတိလေးတွေဖြစ်နေတာပဲဖောင်းမှုလေးတွေသူမရှိတဲ့ကသူကွယ်သွားတဲ့ခါကျတော့သူဖောင်းတိစိတ်မရှိတော့ဒီတော့ရှုခွဲအာယုံရှိမှရှုတိတဲ့နတရားအကျိုးတရားစီဖြစ်တယ်ရှုစရာအာယုအကြောင်းရှိမှရှုတိတဲ့အကျိုးတရားတွေဖြစ်တယ်ဆိုတာပေါ့လေယောဂီကရှုရင်းကကောင်းကောင်းနားလည်သွားတတ်ပါတယ်
So the more we are capable to practice continuously, the more we will come to understand, and that understanding will become more stronger and it is more clear. So for example, if we are observing the rising and falling, then because the rising is there, your noting mind or awareness occurred. When there is no more of rising phenomenon, no mind is occurring to observe the rising phenomenon. When the falling phenomenon disappears, there is no more of arising from the mind as well. So only while it is existing, while the object is occurring, knowing, and when there is no object to be observed, there is no arising from the mind as well. So only when the object is there, then as an effect or as a benefit, then the mind is occurring. So in that way, we are understanding in the next higher stage.
ပုံစံတစ်ခုထုတ်ကြည့်ကြအောင်စို့လူတွေမှာအထိုက်ထားဆိုတာရှိပါတယ်မမကနေပြီးတော့ထိုင်ချတဲ့အခါအလုတ်ကိုယူတဲ့ယောဂီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ထိုင်တော့မှအပြုမှာပေါ့လေတဖြည်းဖြည်းတီချင်းထိုင်ချတဲ့အခါဟောက်ကိုလေးပြီးတော့ကြာသွားတော့လေသိတာပဲတောက်တာတွေတင်းတာတွေဒါတွေသိလာတာလေးပြီးတော့ကြာတော့တောက်တာတွေတင်းတာတွေဟောက်တဲ့ဖြစ်တာတွေဒီကျစိုက်ရှုနေတဲ့အကုန်လုံးဒါတွေသိတာပဲထိုင်တဲ့အခါမှာအတိတ်ပေါ်လာတဲ့အာယုန်တွေကို Pore shoot the a chudiality to the penny lover. A titty penny lover. The Katakama, 10 years say yet all she, yet all she, the time is 7 times in the penny lover. 10 years the ball of Yanoshi, Sebido, tiny you the penny beyond. There are 10 years since the chap, tiny you since the town of the dinner. Leader, Volidari, Pilida, Surabadi. Taindane, Tidane, Nayu, Dwepinilu. Tayina say since the job, Tayu since Jone, June, Dwepinida. You did a book with this, Ruchi, day near Timado, Twitter Pare. Era leve, John Job, 2 people, Lady Baba.
Sarah explains that as a human, every day we all have to sit or stand. So in the same manner in our Vipassana meditation, before we sit, then we will be in a standing posture. From the standing posture, then we want to sit. Because we want to sit, we lower down our body slowly. We slump it down very, very slowly. And that lowering down of your body is taking place in how it is taking place you will be knowing, and how you will know is there will be heaviness and there will be tension and stiffness, and one after another of these characters will be striking to your observative mind. So in that way, with that sitting, that sit and the knowing of the object from the mind is also taking place. Because you wanted to sit, you are sitting. While sitting, you are observing. Then in that way, there is a continuity of awareness, and continuity of awareness to the object, and the characters of the object will be striking to your observation mind. So because you have the intention to sit, there are numerous intentions, not only one, there are sequence of mind events are taking place, so that you will be understanding the mind nature as well to the sitting nature. So in that way, because you want to sit, you are sitting. So you come to understand. So you are knowing that because of the cause to sit, you are sitting. Sitting is an effect. So you are coming to understand the cause and effect relationship from our mind and matter.
Mamaga Taisha Zema. You did a season matati yogi so ye. Don't lay a dream hago where the shows you near dream over 2 and a lady. Digi Taisha Casaro, Hajem Yiro. Down at the worry, tin at the worry, lead at the worry, Tari Polar. Tariga to Gushin Tioga, Pisi, Tilo make better than Mobabu. 10 years say she live 10 years in Nadia. 10 years say Michiluchi, China, you pick on you don't let in a Pina, Mamaji Yani. 10 years say since in job. Ita lady got long so beater. 10 Chazeka Lama, Hajem Yiro, Downari, Dinari, Bari, Badari, Hajem Ypila, Joaraba. Ita say who the Jojo, now the Jojo. You dearly pity there so that the yogi sees us at Matluchi, Johnny Jutilo, Jimada Tower of Yaga, Tanzina, Maho, so about it, called a shindo. Sweetie Chotaro.
Sarah explains that from the standing posture, when you are going to sit, as Sarah mentioned just now, as the cause and effect from our mind and matter are taking place, if we do practice respectfully, maybe in 1 or 2 days or 3 or 4 days, you will come to understand and you will have that kind of knowledge. So, because you want to sit, as you slump down your body slowly, then you will be aware of stiffness, tension. And these stiffness, tension are occurring from the matter. And these stiffness, tension, heaviness are noticed or known by your mind. So we come to understand that because of the intention to sit, you are sitting. Because that intention from your mind is, there are sequence of events from our mind that is happening one after another. Because of it, then we are going to sit. When we are slumping down, we know there's a stiffness, tension, heaviness, etc. So that is, the mind become as a cause, and the stiffness, you are aware of the physical condition, become as an effect. So in that way, we will come to understand about this cause and effect working out from the mind and matter. It is not the kind that because the Creator is making you to sit, it is not at all. Because any supernormal beings is creating you to sit, it is not at all. It is because of your mind you are sitting.
ယုံနာကွဲကြည့်ပုံယုံနာကြောက်ကြည့်ပုံနောက်ထပ်ပုံစံတစ်ခုထုတ်ကြည့်ရအောင်စို့ဘုန်းကြီးတို့အခုယောဂီတွေကိုအခုကြီးပေးတဲ့အနေနဲ့အတန်ထုတ်ပြီးတော့ရှင်းပြနေတဲ့အခါမှာပေါ့လေယောဂီတရားနာပိဋကပေါင်းတွေကဆက်ပြီးတော့နားထောင်နေတယ်နားထဲမှာဘုန်းကြီးတို့ပြောတဲ့အတန်လေးတွေဝန်းဝင်နေတယ်ခန္ဓာဖြစ်တဲ့နားထဲမှာဝင်နေတော့ကြားတယ်ကြည့်တယ်နားမရှိရင်နားကနေလို့ရှိရင်မကြောက်ဘူးနားရှိတော့နားထဲမှာအတန်လိုက်တွေဝင်နေတော့ကြားတယ်နားရှိပဲလို့အတန်မလာလို့ရှိရင်လည်းမကြောက်ဘူးအတန်တရားလည်းလာလာနေတာအတန်ရှိလို့ကြားတယ်ဒီကြားစေကာလမှာနာနဲ့ရုပ်တွေ့လိုက်လို့ရှိရင်နာနဲ့အတန်ကယုတ်တရားကြားကြည့်ကြားတွေ့တာကြားခံစားတာကနတ်တရားဆိုတာဟောယုတ်နဲ့နတ်တွဲဖြစ်နေတာဒါလည်းအကြောင်းနဲ့ကျိုးနဲ့ဆက်ဆက်နေတာပဲနာရှိလို့ကြားရတယ်နာယုတ်ကအကြောင်းတရားကြားကြည့်တာအကျိုးတရားအတန်ရှိလို့ကြားရတယ်အတန်လာလို့ကြားရတယ်အတန်ကအကြောင်းတရားကြားကြည့်တာအကျိုးတရားဆိုတာယူတည်တည်အထုတ်တဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ရဲ့အနေငယ်တွေ့တာတွေသိလာတာပဲအဲ့ဒါနာနဲ့ယုတ်ကွဲဖို့အကြောင်းကျိုးဆက်ဆက်ပြီးတော့သိဖို့သိချင်လို့ရှိရင်ကြားစေကာလမှာအဲ့လိုဒီချာဆုစိတ်မှရပါတယ်ထို့တူပဲမြင်စေနာစေစားစေထီစေကိုယ်စေဆန်စေဆိုတာလည်းပဲယုံနာနေတွဲဖြစ်နေတာအကြောင်းကျိုးဆက်ဆက်ပြီးတော့ဖြစ်နေတာအဲ့ဒါလည်းတကယ်ရှိတယ်အဟုတ်ရှိတဲ့တရားတွေသိခြင်းသူတို့ဖြစ်တုံးဖြစ်စေလေအခုလိုသတိပဋ္ဌာန်နည်းနဲ့စိတ်အားစိုက်ချိန်သက်ခဲ့ပြီးတော့ဆွဆွရရှိရတာ
So how to attain this differentiative knowledge of mind and matter, and they are always taking place in the cause and effect relationship. Now Sayadaw explained that because Sayadaw is explaining, or we are explaining, then the sounds are striking to your ear base. So as yogis are attentively listening, when the sound wavelengths come to strike to your ear base, then you have the hearing consciousness developed. So if you are deaf, then you cannot hear. If there is no sound at all too, you don't develop this hearing consciousness. There must be a sound as well. Good ear base must be present. Only then hearing consciousness developed. So the sound and your ear base, these two are the matters. When they two come to collide, then you will have a hearing consciousness. This sound is the cause, and the development of hearing consciousness is the effect. So in that way, you come to understand the cause and effect relationship. If there is no sound, we cannot hear it. So when the sound is there, this sound becomes a cause, and the knowing or having a hearing consciousness is the effect. So in that way, you will have a differentiative understanding of mind and matter, and these mind and matter are also continuously working out in a cause and effect relationship. So similarly, it goes to when you are seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, etc. All these two, they are working out in accordance with the natural phenomenon. So if we wanted to understand with these differentiation of knowledge, then with due respect and if we are attentively noting on whatever occurred at the present moment, we will come to understand.
သို့သောရှုမှတ်တဲ့အခါမှာတော့ဒါကနာကြည်တတ်ပဲဒီလိုတော့ခွဲဖို့တော့မလိုဘူးဒါကအတိုက်တက်အတန်လှိုင်းပဲဆိုတော့ဒီလိုတော့ခွဲဖို့မလိုဘူးဒါကကြားတာပဲကြားတွေ့တာပဲကြားခံစားတာပဲဆိုတော့ဒီလိုစအနေနဲ့တော့ခွဲဖို့မလိုဘူးအဲ့ဒီခိုက်တာမှာယုံနဲ့တရားတွေပေါင်းစပ်ပြီးတော့ဖြစ်တာကိုပဲကြားတယ်ဆိုတဲ့ဩဟာရပေါ်လာတာပဲအဲ့ဒါဒီပေါင်းစပ်ဖြစ်နေတာဖြစ်တော့ကြားတယ်ကြားသည်ဆိုတာပါလေအဲ့ဒီအသုံးနှုန်းနဲ့မှတ်ရတာပဲကြားတယ်ကြားတယ်ခွဲမမှတ်ရဘူးအဲ့ဒါတော့နားလည်ထားနေရပါတယ်ထို့တူပဲမြင်တဲ့ခက်တာမလို့ယုံနဲ့တရားတွေပေါင်းစပ်ပြီးဖြစ်နေမြင်တယ်နားတယ်စားတယ်ထိတယ်ကိုယ်တယ်စတယ်စသည်ပါလေသူနားလေတဲ့ကိုနားလေတဲ့ဩဝါဒအမိနဲ့ပဲတတ်မှတ်ရပါတယ်
So when we are doing this practice, then as Sarah have explained, because of the sound come to strike with the ear base, we have the hearing consciousness. This is just to understand the nature of the phenomenon we are learning. But in our practical work, that is, when we are hearing the sound, we just have to observe it as hearing. No need to analyze, is that a ear base, is that the sound? No need to do. But you just note it merely as hearing. And later on, you will come to know that hearing consciousness, and because of that hearing, you have some kind of feelings, etc. Then you will come to understand with the maturity of your progress. So that's why Sarah explained that while it is happening, while it is occurring, then we have to note it in the hearing phenomenon as hearing. Likewise, it goes to when we are seeing an object, noted as seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, in that way. We just have to observe it. The differentiation of understanding will pursue in the line of your progress.
စိတ်ရှုလို့ကိုယ်ကဝိရိယတတိသမารိတွေကချိန်သားကြိုက်တွေကအားကောင်းလာကြလို့ရှိရင်မြည်ပြီးတော့ပြောက်ကြားပြီးတော့ပြောက်နာပြီးပြောက်စားပြီးပြောက်ထိပြီးပြောက်သိပြီးပြောက်ဖောင်းပြီးပြောက်ပိန်ပြီးပြောက်ဆိုတာပါလေအတိအကျခေါင်းပြူပေါ်လာပြီးတော့တောင်းလောင်နေပြီးတော့ပြောက်သွားတာလေးတွေဉာဏ်လေးရင့်လာတဲ့ခါကျတော့အခုပင်ဖြစ်ပြီးတော့အခုပင်ပြတ်သွားတာလေးတွေအဟောင်းပြအတိဆက်ပုံလေးတွေပေါ့လေကောင်းကောင်းကြီးကြည့်လာတော့တာပါပဲ
So as we progress in our meditation with our strong viriya, sati and samadhi, that is with strong effort, mindfulness and concentration, then the more we are capable to note, the more we will come to understand the nature of disappearance. For example, if you are seeing, you note it as seeing, instantly as you observe, it will disappear. If you are hearing, note it as hearing, instantly as you note, it will disappear. Likewise, it goes to your smelling, tasting, touching. So if it is stiffness, tension too, then it will be, as you note, it will be disappearing. All are disappearing in a continuum nature. So that's why whenever we are observing, all the old phenomena are passing by and the new are taking place.
အဲ့ဒီဘယ်လောက်ရောက်သွားပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်သစ္စာလေးပါးအမှန်တရားတွေကဒုက္ခသစ္စာလို့ခေါ်တဲ့ဆင်းရဲအမှန်တရားဒါတရားတွေ့တာပဲအဲ့ဒီမှန်တရားတွေဖြစ်ပြီးတော့ပြတ်သွားတာတွေဒါတွေသိတာပဲဖြ ဖြစ်ဖြစ်ကိုခတ်သွက်သွက်မြင်တော့တာပဲအခုကြားတဲ့အခါမှာဒီစားစုစိတ်မှလို့ရှိရင်တရားပြီးတရားပါဒီကအပိုင်းလိုက်ပြတ်ပြီးတော့ဖြောက်သွားဒါလေးကြီးကြည့်လာတာပဲအဲ့လိုကြည့်ပြီးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်နားနဲ့ကြားရယုတ်ကနှစ်ဖြာဆိုတာပါဒီကျုပ်ဒုက္ခသစ္စာကြည့်သွားတာတခါဒီကနေကြားနေဆိုနားကြည့်တာတခါနားရဲ့တိုက်ခတ်ပေါ်လာဆိုတာအတန်ကြည့်တာတပည့်နေတဲ့တော့အကုန်လုံးမသိဘူးတခါမှနားရဲ့ကြားနေတယ်ဆိုတာပါလေကြားသိတဲ့စိတ်ကြည့်တာနားထဲမှာအတန်နဲ့စိတ်နဲ့ဆုံတွေ့တယ်ဆိုတာဒီလိုလေးသိတတ်တယ်ဒါလည်းနားသိတာပဲကြားလို့ကောင်းတယ်ကြားလို့မကောင်းဘူးဆိုတာခံစားမှုတွေအဲ့ဒါလေးသိတော့လို့ရှိဒါလည်းနားသိတာပဲဒီကြားတဲ့ခိုက်တာမှာအခု၅မျိုးပေါ်ဒီပေါင်းစပ်ပြီးတော့ဖြစ်နေတဲ့အခါထင်ရှားရတခုခုကိုတော့သိတော့တာပဲတခုခုသိလိုက်လို့ရှိရင်ကြားတဲ့ဟာတွေကလည်းအလိုလိုသိပြီးတော့ဖြစ်တော့ပါတယ်ဒီမှာအဲ့ဒါတော့နားလည်ထားပါတယ်အဲ့ဒါလိုအစိတ်ရောက်သွားပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကြားပြီးပြောက်ဆိုတာပါလေနားနဲ့ကြားရယုတ်ကနှစ်ဖြာကြားတွေ့ခံစားနာငါသုံးဖြာနတရား၃ပါး၃မျိုးပေါ့လေအဲ့ဒါနဒုက္ခသစ္စာထားရခေါ်တယ်ကြားစဉ်တွေ့ရဒုက္ခသစ္စာကြားဒုက္ခမှာအဲ့ဒါဒီတွေ့ရကြည့်ရတဲ့အရာတွေပဲထင်ရှားတဲ့အရာတွေပဲဒါကြားနေတော့မှထင်ရှားတဲ့အရာတွေကြည့်ရင်လို့ရှိရင်ဘယ်လိုမှမလဲအဆိုလေးထည့်ရတယ်ကြားတယ်ဟုမှတ်ရှုသိရပါတဲ့မှတ်လို့ရှိသိသွားတာပဲကဲအဲ့တော့လေးဆိုရမယ်နားနဲ့ကြားရယုတ်ကနှစ်ဖြာနားနဲ့ကြားရယုတ်ကနှစ်ဖြာနားရဲ့ကြားရတဲ့သာရတာပြောတာနော်ကြားရတဲ့ဟာကြားတွေ့ခံစားနာငါသုံးဖြာကြားတွေ့ခံစားနာငါသုံးဖြာကြားစဉ်တွေ့ရဒုက္ခသစ္စာအဲ့ဒါဒီပေါင်းစပ်ပြီးတော့ဖြစ်နေတဲ့အခါမှာကြားတုံးခေါ်တယ်တွေ့ရတဲ့အရာတွေအဲ့ဒါဒုက္ခသစ္စာတရားတဲ့ဆင်းရဲမှတရားတဲ့သိအောင်မလုပ်မလဲကြားတယ်ဟုမှတ်ရှုသိရပါပေါင်းပြီးတော့မှတ်ပါတဲ့ကြားတယ်ဟုမှတ်ရှုသိရပါကြားတယ်ဟုမှတ်ရှုသိရပါဆို
ကြားတွေ့ခံစားနာငါသုံးဖြာကြားစဉ်တွေ့ရဒုက္ခသစ္စာကြားရမရှိရ
ဒီတိုင်းပဲနာနဲ့ခါမြင်တဲ့ခါလည်းဒီတိုင်းပဲမျက်စိမြင်ရယုတ်ကနှစ်ဖြာဒီတိုင်းပဲနာနဲ့ခါလည်းနာရနှာခေါင်းနာရယုတ်ကနှစ်ဖြာဒါပေါ့စာတိတကလည်းရှာအရသာယုတ်ကနှစ်ဖြာအဲ့ဒါဒီတိုင်းပါပဲအဲ့ဒါဒီတော့အချိန်မရတော့ဘူးပြောဖို့ဒါလေးတော့ပဲ
Sarah is explaining that as mentioned, if we are practicing in this noble practice, we will come to understand the Four Noble Truths. Among these Four Noble Truths, the first truth is called Dukkha Satya. That is the truth of the suffering. So the truth of the suffering is once we are capable to observe to all the objects, then all these are happening and passing away in a rapid manner, in a very fast manner. So in that way, whatever you heard or you see, everything will disappear and disappear and disappearing. So when we are, for example, when we are observing on the sense of hearing, then we know that because of the ear base is present and because the sound is there, we are we are having the hearing consciousness. To know this is dukkha satya, that is the truth of the suffering. So whenever the sound is there, and when it comes to collide with your earpiece, then you develop hearing consciousness. And because of that hearing consciousness, accordingly, sometimes we like it very much, sometimes we hate it accordingly. So when we are aware of this hearing consciousness, then all these are very obvious, and one after another, these phenomena are taking place. So in the same manner, whenever we are aware of this hearing, as soon as we hear, it is disappearing. So in the same manner to the other sense bases as well. So when we are observing on this hearing phenomenon, for example, on hearing phenomenon, then we know there is a hearing consciousness. Accordingly, we will have the feeling. So this is called dukkha satya. This is the real truth of the suffering. Because we are understanding the truth of the suffering means, because the hearing phenomenon is obvious, that's why we are knowing. So whenever we know it, while it is knowing, then we have to observe it attentively. Then you will know the dukkha satya. That is the truth of the suffering. So when we know this truth of the suffering, then we have to understand more. While we are hearing, precisely or accurately, we have to observe on it as hearing and hearing. In the same manner, it goes to the sense of seeing as seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, etc. So in that way, while it is happening, then if we can contemplate it, we will come to understand this dukkha satya, the truth of the suffering.
ဒီအစဉ်လောက်ရသွားလို့ရှိရင်ဘုန်းကြီးတို့ဗုဒ္ဓကဘဝအရှင်တန်းပိုင်းခြားသတ်မှတ်ပြီးလိုက်တယ်အခုလိုသတိပဋ္ဌာန်ကြီးနဲ့မရှိဘဲနဲ့စိတ်ကူးသက်သက်နဲ့စဉ်းစားနေတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေစိတ်ကူးတော့မှမရှိဘဲနဲ့ယုံနာကြောက်ကြွဆက်ဖို့ရိတ်ကလေးပေါ်ရိတ်ကလေးပြောအခုပြင်ဖြစ်သွားတယ်မသိတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေလောကီအာယုံကာမဂုဏ်လောကီကိစ္စတွေနဲ့အချိန်ကုန်သွားတာတွေအများကြီးရှိပါတယ်အာထုတ်ပြီမဲ့လို့ဒီအဆင့်မရောက်သေးဘူးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လည်းပဲဒါလည်းပဲမဟုတ်သေးဘူးပေါ့လေဒီအဆင့်ရောက်သွားပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ယုံနာရဲ့အဖြစ်အပျက်ကိုမမြင်ဘဲနဲ့အသက်တရားရှင်နေရသူတဲ့အခုတို့ရှုမှတ်လို့ယုံနာရဲ့အဖြစ်အပျက်ကိုခတ်တဲ့တိမြင်မှုတရားစာလေးပေါ်လီတိမြင်သူကပို့ပြီးတော့တန်ဖိုးရှိပါတယ်တန်ဖိုးကြီးဖြတ်ထားပါတယ်အဲ့တော့လူရလို့ဖြစ်လာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အခုအစိုးမိတ်တိုင်းမိတို့လူဘဝတန်ဖိုးဘယ်လောက်ရှိနေပါလဲဆိုတော့ဘယ်ဆင်းရောက်နေလဲတွေ့ကြဘူးပဲဒါမှမတည်သေးဘူးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လည်းပဲတန်ဖိုးကြီးကြာနေတာအောက်တန်းကြာနေတာပဲဓမ္မကဲအဲ့ဒါလေးဆိုပြီးတော့ဒီနေ့တရားဝတ်သိရစို့ဖြစ်ဖြစ်နှဖျားမမြင်ပါပဲတရားအသက်ရှိသည်ထက်လဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်နှဖျားမမြင်ပါပဲတရားအသက်ရှိသည်ထက်လဲတရက်တာမြဖြစ်ဖြစ်နှဖျားတရက်တာမြသက်ရှင်ရသောလောကလူရွာပါပဲတရက်တရားချမ်းမြတ်သာသည်မြတ်စွာဘုရားမိန့်ခွန်းဒီပြန်ဆိုစမ်းမှာဖြစ်ဖြစ်နှဖျားမမြင်ပါပဲတရားအသက်ရှိသည်ထက်လီဖြစ်ဖြစ်နေဟံယုံနဲ့နာဟောယုံနဲ့နာအမှန်မြင်လျက်ဉာဏ်စီတက်လျက်အသက်တရက်တာမြ သက်ရှင်ရသောလောကလူရွာကောင်းမြတ်သာသည်မြတ်စွာဘုရားမိဂွန်းသည်ဖြစ်ဖြစ်နှဖျားမမြင်ပါပဲတရားအသက်ရှိသည်ထက်လဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်နေဟံယုံနဲ့နံကိုအမှန်မြင်လျက်ဉာဏ်စဉ်တက်၍တရက်တာမြသက်ရှင်ရသောလောကလူရွာကောင်းမြတ်သာသည်မြတ်စွာဘုရားမိန့်ခွန်းသည်ဆိုရစမ်းဒီနေ့ဒါပဲတွေ့ကြအောင်စို့
As Sarah explained, to reach to the level of understanding the realities of mind and matter, we have to pursue the real practical workout. So, by imagination or thinking, we cannot attain this knowledge. By imagination, we cannot see the realities of arising and passing away of all the phenomena. Sarah says most of the people nowadays, we have spent most of our time pursuing in the worldly worlds or worldly walks. But we don't know, we have no knowledge to take up this high esteem practice of Vipassana meditation. So, just to understand this, Sarah have explained in a phrase form that as for a person who live only for one day and seeing the arising and passing away of all the phenomena, who live only for one day, his life is better than a person who do not see or who do not understand the arising and passing away of the phenomena. So this is the phrase as expounded by the Lord Buddha, Sarah have explained to us. That is, may I repeat, that if a person is living for a one day, and if one is seeing the rising and passing away of the phenomena, even though that person is living for one day, his or her life is better than the person who is living for 100 years and not knowing this real phenomenon of rising and passing away. Then that person, the former person who is living for one day, his life is better than the latter one. And those phrases were as expounded by the Lord Buddha, Sarah is currently teaching us now. Now we come to the end of tonight's talk.